Disclaimer. We are two regular guys who love to talk Bone Thugs and Harmony. We do not represent Bone Thugs or any Bone affiliate. We are also not Bone Thugs experts. The views and information you hear in this podcast may be based on personal opinion. Please feel free to leave corrections and clarifying information in the comments. And enjoy. Kick that shit, Feenics. Now let's roll up with the doors back, folks, and get in the ball. It was never the same, like the heyday, especially for fans. We always say the heyday of Mo Thugs was Mo Thugs 1 and 2. I mean, everything changed after that. The sound changed, the feeling changed, even the look, changed. So things were considerably different after Mo Thugs 1 and 2. And I also don't believe that there were Mo Thug artists after the second one that we as fans got personally invested in the way we did the first roster. There was no one from the third one or especially the fourth one that we would really get into, like, you were like, yo, I love Poetic Hustlers, or I love Too True, or I love Trey, or I love Graveyard Shift. There was no one really like that. So it is an unfortunate thing, because Mo Thugs was, I mean, let's call it exactly what it's called. It really was a movement. It was something different. It's like you said at the beginning, they had a plan, and they just knew how it was gonna happen. They came back to the land, and they signed, talent. You can't listen to that first record and say that it's anything but talent. It's such a talented, just group of people. So it is unfortunate, and like you said, Mo Thugs left you, and that's kind of like the running theme as we do these interviews. After that happened, you're solo. There's no Mo Thugs. Night Riders. Did you seek out, or did any labels, try to seek you out for a deal after that?
At that point, I was kind of like done with trying to sign contracts, and at that point I kind of just gave up after the Night Riders. Like, I'm not gonna even lie, I just gave up after Night Riders. I like this stuff is too. The business makes it not fun. It really do. Like, it takes away, and me, and I always knew it. I said once we start worrying about the business and the politics, it's gonna poison, our creativity, and I never wanted to care about all that, and lawyers and paperwork and legalities. I just wanted to rap, and I just wanted to go on stage, and I just wanted to have fun, and the business part of it is so complex, and if you don't take care of the business part, you really come out business. It's not really smart to sign to anybody. I'll just say that. For all your listeners who want to get in the game, just do it yourself. Do it all yourself. Don't sign to nobody, because you can't. You locked into that person. They basically own you.
Yeah. Especially in 2019, it's a different ball game. Back in 95, 96, 97, when you guys were going, the options were not there the way they are now with the internet. There's so many more independents, than there used to be. I mean, I remember in the day, the only thing that we really knew as independent hip hop was like Swisha House. They were the independents. Everybody else, was signed to somebody. And, now it's just like everybody strives to be independent. Everybody kind of takes the Koch model that we knew from back in the day. I know you said that after Night Riders, you'd kind of thrown in the towel for a little bit. Over the years, I have seen a couple possible reunions that looked like they were going to happen. Just in some interviews, like I remember you and Mo Hart and Soulja Boy looked like you guys were going to kind of almost do like some kind of group or something like that. And I've just seen a couple things. I even remember kind of after Mo Thugs, you had done like a track with Presence of Darkness out of Cleveland, and I know fans were really excited about that as well. Was it just that one song that you did with Presence of Darkness, or was there more that was going to happen with there, or was that just like a feature?
That was like a feature. I dropped out. I kind of gave it, but I was just doing the little features on stuff. The Presence of Darkness. I forget her name. I think her name was Jamie or something. She had a group called the War Gods, and
Yeah, I remember that.
she wanted me to feature on that, so I did that. I did a lot of features on a lot of stuff. A lot of people wanted me to do features, but it was, I wasn't doing anything like really anything beyond that. You know what I mean? So I
Yeah.
would, do a song, and then by the time I got together with Soulja Boy and Mo Hart, we were just fooling around trying to see. We was recording a lot of stuff, a lot of songs. We was trying to get everybody together because my thing was like, well, if I was going to do like some more music, I would only do it if we get all the original Mo Thug, at least one from every group, Too True, Poetic Hustler, King Dog, and we all come together. But we couldn't quite get everybody on the same page, and so that didn't manifest into really nothing because it's hard trying to get everybody living separate lives, and so there's a lot of people that contact me, on Messenger, and they're like, can you please, can we get something, all original Mo Thug, we need to see y'all together, we want to, anything coming out. And the hardest thing to do is to get everybody on one page.
Yeah.
There's so many of us. A lot of people that's a lot of fans, they want to hear the original Mo Thug. They want to hear us all together, and it'll be a big hit, but it's hard to get everybody on the same page.
Yeah. It's so many too, There, like you were just saying, so many of you. I remember watching the video interview you did, and I think you're just walking through Cleveland talking, and you had even mentioned that at that time you guys were trying to even get Gates back into it. And I know fans were really excited for that reunion. Recently, though, I believe I saw Archie trying to kind of put together a reunion. It looked like it was going to be Archie and Mo Hart and Too True and you and even some other fucking people like It looked like K Chill was going to get on a song, who used to do stuff with Bone. So is it looking like we might see a reunion in the future if it can pull together?
Yeah. So we've definitely been talking, and again, the hardest part, like everybody's like, "What happened to you?" You know, we like still here, but it's like trying to break down a brick wall to get everybody organized because everybody living separate lives. They live in doing different things, and so it won't be right if it's just me, Soldier Boy, and Mohart, or me, Mohart, Jazz, and Rena, or some more. Me, so for me, because I think it's just gonna make it even greater if we can get everybody. That's what's gonna win. That's what the people want to see. Because I hear it, in social media. I always get messages. I'm getting friend requests all day, all the time. And they always saying, do you got anything coming up? And I got to tell them, like, no. And want to know, they ask questions like, or will you and Crazy ever get together and do a song? You got to tell them, what are you going to tell them? You got to tell them, no, we don't have anything. And I get messages like that all day, every day. And it's crazy.
Wow.
Like,
It's got to be it's got to be humbling and exhausting to get that. Humbling because you have these fans that for we're talking 20 years now still want to hear you. They still want to hear Mo Thug. They still want to hear Crazy, but exhausting too because we as Bone fans, we get stuck on those good times, and we don't want to let go of the fact that Mo Thugs isn't going to put out a record like that one again. So it's like a double-edged sword for you almost, I'd say, with the fans and just the situation.
and if can you imagine we did a original Mota Bone, all original Mota compilation again, like
Oh man,
oh my God, it'd be crazy. It'd
it would
be
be.
insane crazy, ridiculous, and we'll take over the game. We'll take over the game for another decade at least. At least. But it's hard to get people to come to the table, and that's what I mean, like, hard getting everybody to come to the table in agreement,
Yeah, yeah, and things have changed so much since Mo Thugs was a thing. I mean, 2019 versus 1996. There's a lot of years and a lot of change there. The thing that doesn't change is the talent. You guys were talented then, you're talented now. I still hear Mo Thugs put out tracks, just at random and shit like that. But like of course Soldier Boy is still putting out music, but I even heard like Jazz just dropped one of those challenges, and it was just her dropping a verse over the "You Don't Want Drama" beat. So the talent never goes away. I believe that if Archie gets you guys all together, we got another classic, on our hands, because that talent is going to be there regardless. I want to make sure before I wrap up with you. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say I want to make sure we had so many. I think I had more fan questions for this one than fucking almost any of our interviews, and I really picked through and made sure that we picked the best ones for you. Some of them, me and John were already going to ask. So I got some fan questions, and I want to make sure that we cover them. Some of them are really good here, so I'm just going to throw some of these at you. The first one comes from actually a Beyond the Harmony subscriber who goes by Smoke and Bone, and he wants to know if you were at the Ruthless Christmas party and you remember anything about Bone beating Toker from the Brown side for all his money in a dice game.
I wasn't there for that.
He wasn't there for that. Yeah, he wanted to know. He said, I guess there was an interview or something where they talked about a bunch of Mo Thugs being at this ruthless Christmas party, and the Mo Thugs were just too nice with the dice, and they were cleaning house on all the dudes from L.A. So, and he was one of them. Beyond the Harmony subscriber, Chris Sago, he wants to know if it's true that Still Waters was supposed to be released on Halloween of 1997.
We wanted it, we wanted to be released on Halloween. Again, we was coming with the graveyard shift, that whole dark, Undertaker kind of, it was.
Let me take a look here. We got so many of them. Frank216, he's a big Beyond the Harmony listener. He listens to all the episodes, and he wants to know that if people were asking for features from you, would you still consider doing features for artists in 2019? Would we see Sin feature with like new artists?
Not immediately opposed to it, but again, like right now, I'm really focused on like Mo Thug. We just don't have enough material on ourselves together now, and I think we're doing ourselves a disservice by not having music with all of the Mo Thug. I mean, I know it's probably near impossible to get like some Bone members together, but if we can at least see a Soulja Boy, a Sin, a Ken Dog, a Heart, a Boogie Night, a Jazz, a Brina, some real, we go in there, and so that's what I want more than anything.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be immediately opposed. I wouldn't be immediately opposed to doing some features, but it's kind of like a priority thing. Right now, Archie has been talking about getting everybody. We've been trying to get in contact with one of the members from Trey, and so I'm really focused in that direction. I just got off the phone the other day with Soulja Boy, and so we're really trying to rally me as the original members as possible.
Yeah, we as fans want to see that. If like you said, if there's anything the fans want to see, it's as many of those original Mo Thugs all together as possible. And with Beyond the Harmony, we spend a ton of time, just tracking down original members. So of course, if there's anything that we can do to help you guys put together this cast, we're completely in. It was great. We actually felt like we helped inspire Archie a little bit to do that. We had Archie on the show, and of course Mo Hart, Soulja Boy, and when we started doing this channel, we started to almost put the mix for you guys back in. There were so many guys that said they hadn't spoke for a long time. I actually think I had a personal status up on Facebook at one point, and it looked like you and Romeo had even hadn't spoken a long time, and you guys spoke on my status just briefly, and I thought that was kind of groundbreaking. As far as being a Bone fan and just seeing reunions and whatnot, seeing you and Romeo share words. This is just kind of a pure curiosity question while we're talking about the reunions and stuff. But if in the perfect world, if someone funded a track to be produced by Romeo, for you, Gates, and 101 to do a GYS reunion, would you do that in the perfect world?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. It would be a very fun situation because I haven't seen those guys in a while, So, I would love to get in the studio with them, and I would love to record. I always wanted to record something with Busy. I recorded with Crazy. I recorded with Lazy. I always wanted to record with Busy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think that would have been cool. You guys have nice contrasting voices too. I think that would have sounded really good.
yeah. He was my favorite band member. You and Crazy, and then Lazy, and then you can interchange sometimes Wish and Fresh. Wish and Fresh sometimes this can be fourth. He was always to me. He had a singing. He could naturally sing too. So he was incorporating um, those harmonies really well, blending. Um, you know, so he's really talented,
Yeah,
and, and Crazy too. Crazy is really talented, and just their I think that's why they call it recording artist, because recording is a trick to it. I mean, you can go in there and just say anything, and it'll sound good. You can go in there, but it's the way you put you know, how they was recording in layers. You
yeah,
know, each layer would be saying something different. And it'd be, it was just crazy how they was just doing that shit, like like fucking magicians, like seriously. But they would, and so they would call a person that would just go in there and just say some stuff. I mean, even though the vocabulary was crazy, they were saying, they'd be rapping some, the vocabulary, the punchline, the delivery, all of that is amazing. But they didn't freak it, is how they would say it. You got to freak it. Like, you have to go in there, and it was either, if you just did it, just basic record, whatever you were saying, I mean, that was cool, but it was kind of boring. You had to go in there and put all the different layers and accents and a different sound, vocally. It was using like 3, 4, 5, 6 separate tracks just on vocals.
wow. I I think that's what I think that's kind of too like John was listening to Stillwater's last night, and he was just saying just like how good the album sounds, and I think that goes with that GYS. It was more, even though the beat is what moved, like you as Sin, to get into it, it's like the vocal production alone, you could tell that was just as important. It wasn't just about just throwing down the vocals and putting a mix on it. Like, you guys treated the vocals like an instrument. I mean, I think that's a fair way to put it. Like, the vocals were just like another instrument.
Exactly. You nailed it right. That's exactly. Because that's how Bong did. Like I said, they used several channels on that board just for vocals. Whereas your basic rapper, he's just gonna put a main vocal. He's gonna probably do double voice to kind of fatten it up, thicken it up. He may even do a trip. He may even do a triple. He may even do 3 tracks on a. But these guys was doing. They took advantage of each track and they did it. it's hard to really put it in words, but they used about 5 or 6 tracks simultaneously, mixing in and out, and it just blended it in. It just blended all in. It all sound uniform and melodic. It's crazy. Crazy.
Yeah.
And,
And it's unique to that Bone, and I'm not gonna say anymore it's unique because the game has evolved so much, but at that time, the mid '90s, I think that was a real unique kind of Bone Mo Thug, or like you said, Midwest kind of thing, and Midwest was very undeveloped compared to the other territories in hip hop, and the Midwest brought a lot to the table, a lot that's used now. A comparison that we even make all the time on this show is, without Bone, we wouldn't have had a guy like Nelly, who you don't think of Bone and Nelly, when you compare rappers, but when you look at the structure of a guy like Nelly, he borrows so much of that from Bone, that Midwest flow that we're talking about.
Yeah, I would agree, to a certain extent. They did influence a particular sound. And again, nobody was, they may have caught some of the harmonies, but a lot of artists wasn't taking advantage, and it probably could have sounded even better. I'm not saying Nelly didn't sound good; he sounded good, but I'm saying a lot of artists, and still to this day, they don't take advantage of the studio. They don't take advantage of the recording capabilities of that studio, and playing with the board, and doing different things, and this what I think set Bone apart from everybody. There was technicians when it came to that to recording. You know what I mean? Like every detail. It made the music sound even better. And I think everybody else was just trying to emulate that without actually really knowing the blueprint behind it. I might even be giving up too many secrets right now, because these dudes, they really utilize full recording capabilities of their studio.
I would say too, something that is, for that time anyway, we see it so much more now, but they wanted to know how to run the studio and how shit worked. They were not happy, and it sounds like Graveyard Shift was the same way. Not happy just going in and saying, this is what I want, and letting somebody else do it. You guys were hands on, and you wanted to be able to do it so you could manipulate it exactly the way you wanted, versus trying to make somebody understand what you want. And I think that helps set Bone and guys like you way apart from the pack in the mid '90s.
Yeah, writing lyrics is pretty easy, but making, producing tracks, making beats is it's probably easy to a person that does it. But it's really a tricky process. It's a tricky and thing. So Bone was doing a lot of that. They was doing a lot of their own stuff. They was learning their way around the studio, and they would sit there with the engineer, and because a lot of their lyrics, their recording style was so crazy that they had to sit there, with the engineer and fade things in and out properly. And so with doing that, they learned their way around. You know, they learned how to work and manipulate the stuff, the equipment or whatever. Me personally, I don't consider myself a beat maker, like, a really good one. Like T-Rock was, like Tombstone was, like, Crazy was. But that's a special talent in itself. You have to know
Oh
you got
yeah.
to know that equipment. Yeah, you got to know that equipment in that studio and how to work everything. And
One more question from the fans here. Dirty Hen from Beyond the Harmony wanted to know if you still have any contact with any of Tombstone's family.
yeah, several of his cousins and family members. Um, with them through Facebook. I have a lot of them friended on Facebook. Mostly, that way. Not with any of them.
I, you
Messenger on Facebook and things like
uh we were breaking up. I think I was losing you just a little bit over your speakerphone on that one. But that's all right because it brought us into Sin, what I believe is gonna be the most important questions of the entire interview here. These are the good ones, so I hope you're ready. In your interview with Graveyard Soldier, you mentioned that you are an avid video game player. Are you still an active video game player today in 2019?
Oh yeah, still play video games. Yeah, I think that's going to be something that I'm gonna carry to the grave. Yeah, I love video games.
What's the big game that you're playing right now? Are you playing like the Red Dead Redemption and stuff, or what's Sin playing right
Exactly.
now?
I'm playing the Red Dead, the online. Right now, it's not a lot to do, but it's coming. A lot of people are hard on the game. They're saying that it's not a lot to do. It's microtransactions, all that kind of stuff. But I don't know. I'm just in there getting my aim. I play a lot of team death matches, and just polishing up on my aim, getting ready for the new content. When they drop the new content, I'll be ahead of the curve.
Yeah.
A lot of people complaining about they call them griefers. They're like, oh, there's a lot of griefers. I mean, so what? I mean, it's the Wild Wild West. This is what it is. You got to watch them. You got to you got to. If I see somebody riding, they on their horse or whatever. If he got his gun out, you can't shoot you if he don't have his gun out. So if his gun is out, he on some. He's crazy. I don't give him a chance. If you got your, that's how I do. If you got your gun out, I'm shooting you. One shot to the head.
You had said people are kind of down on it because there's not too much to do. But I remember when the GTA 5 online first came out, it was shit too, and they have like an amazing online world now. So I have no doubts that Red Dead Redemption is going to come along and look real nice. Earlier too, you had mentioned that you were a comic book guy. Were you more of a Marvel guy or were you a DC guy?
I started out a DC because of Superman. It was like my first character, and then I got hit to all the rest of them. Batman, and those are like the main two that they was promoting at that time when I was, getting involved in the comics. So, and then it was okay. But when Marvel, I think the X-Men was the first time I got exposed to. No, it was Spider-Man, and he was okay. It was Spider-Man. Spider-Man was my first transition over to Marvel. Spider-Man was okay. But when the X-Men hit,
Oh yeah.
that's when it was over because it was more. I don't know. Marvel, even the movies are more, violent. You know what I mean? I know that sounds crazy, but they more violent than like DC, like the Aquaman, the Justice League. I mean, they was good. Batman versus Superman. They was good. They stuck to the lore or whatever in that sense, but they just wasn't as brutal as an Avengers or a Logan. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Logan, when he had the little girl, his daughter or whatever, and so like DC, but Marvel was just a little bit more grittier, darker, and
This is I believe this is going to be the question I'm going to leave the night on because I think that you're a guy that's going to be able to give a lot of insight here. You know, when you had your run at Mothug and Graveyard Shift, um, something that I think a lot of Mothugs would agree is that there wasn't a lot of opportunity for a young kid that was living, in Cleveland in that environment, and certainly something like Mo Thugs was almost just like a God blessing. Do you feel like life in Sinclair on E99 has improved since you were young? Do you feel we have better opportunities out here now for the youth to not get caught up in those situations and have something more? I mean, are we still looking like we need a lot of improvements out there?
yeah, definitely. My mother, even though I grew up in that neighborhood, it was a bad neighborhood ever since I was young. But my mother and my father, they both had real good jobs, and I wasn't poverty, I guess. Like I don't know why my mother chose to live in the slums, but she did. But she had a good job. She was a nurse, but she was a court reporter first, and then she became a nurse after that. And so I have a little bit of different background from like a lot of dudes that went in the streets and stuff. Like you hear a lot of rappers. They talk about, oh well, you know, you know, I do what I gotta do because I gotta eat, and if we lived like this and we didn't have things, and we were poor, and there was a lot of kids that was like that. A lot of my friends was like that, but I didn't get into the rap or like you said, Mo Thug was like a savior. It probably was a savior to a lot of the Mo Thug rappers. It probably was a way out, but I didn't see it as a way out because I just seen it as something that I just wanted to do. It wasn't like a savior, like for me. I was just speaking for me because
Right.
I wasn't trying to escape from nothing. Like the shit that I was getting into, the hell I was catching was self-caused. I was out there selling drugs. I get caught. I go to jail. I didn't have to be out there selling drugs. Like I said, my mother, like I got good grades and stuff in school. I played sports. I was kind of like a nerd. I was reading comic books, listening to rock music. But I was living in the hood. I was living in the hood with gangbangers and drug dealers, and so I thought that was cool. And so I wanted to do that kind of shit. But and then when they blew up in the rap game and they came with them old thugs, for me it wasn't a savior flagship kind of thing. It was just I want to do that too. I don't know. I guess I was just a copycat, like all through life. Like I want to. Those dudes that selling crack look cool. They got the cars and the girls. They got the nice clothes. I want to wear that. I mean, so my mother, she had a good job, but I wasn't wearing fresh Nikes every day like the drug dealer. So I wanted to be like, I was like, I want. So when I met Crazy Bone, it seemed like this whole rapping thing was about rapping now. So. And they always had like big dreams. They like, man, we're gonna be rich. We're gonna be, y'all gonna see us on TV. You know, they used to say shit like that, and that shit was amazing to me. I was like, these niggas they really think they, and they did it. I was like, damn. So that blew my mind. So I wanted to be a rapper. So I wanted to do that. So, and then, to answer the second part of your question. That area is really heavy in poverty. But like I said, it was a lot of families that were doing really well. There was some families that wasn't doing so well. And now, and today, and it's still kind of like that. Still kind of like that today. And for me, and from watching Bone, I don't view like again like I didn't see like the Mota thing as a way of getting out of something or out of a situation because I didn't feel like I was in a situation at that time or whatever. If I was, it was self-created. And as far as like the opportunities, I don't think opportunities are external. I think you create opportunity. Like what Bone did, they created an opportunity. See, they taught me, if nothing else, I learned a lot watching them, observing them. And they created a situation. They self out. And yeah, and for them it was a way out for them because they was not all of them. Some of them, you know, got different backgrounds. They created these opportunities, and for a youth in these communities today, those kind of success stories are inspiration, and should be an inspiration that anybody can do it. Anybody can do it, you know. I've just never been one of those people. I'm not one of those people that say like, you know, society is holding you back. Because I've seen people with nothing overnight become something. Firsthand, witnessed it. So to me, that's proof that you can be what the hell you want to be. You can do what you want to be who you want to be, and do what you want to do. And I think that's all due to the type of society that we have. That you can become a millionaire overnight. Like that's the greatest part of this country, really, for real. A lot of countries you can't do that. A lot of countries you can't do what you want to do. Like you can literally become a millionaire. You could be broke today and a millionaire tomorrow in America.
That's a thing John and I speak about frequently. We speak about it frequently, just the manifestation and the drive to do what you want. You know, it starts with calling your shots, like you said, Bone. They said it. We're gonna be on TV. We're gonna be famous. We're gonna come back. We're gonna sign you guys, and they did that shit. Calling your shots and manifestation is a huge part of it. And then the other part is exactly what you've said. You guys spent countless hours in that studio perfecting the craft, all of you, whether it was them recording and you watching or you recording. You know, it's a two-part system that is success. But as you said, it can all be different for you tomorrow. And I think that's an important message, especially, you know, a guy like you, as we've gone over, you know, your story here, and believe it or not, we've been 3.5 hours. And as we've gone over this and people have heard your trials and tribulations that have got us to 2019, I think that's important that they hear that you still have such a good, positive message for them. Before I wrap up with you tonight, Sin, is there anything else that you want to leave your fans with, your listeners? They don't hear from you often. We get like a real good check-in with Sin as far as like an interview, you know, every like 5 or even 10 years. So I want to make sure that anything you want to leave them with here, that you do it now.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, just be fearless, man. You know, don't be afraid to jump off that edge. No matter what happens, you know, in the business, Bone, their whole story is an inspiration. Like, they took a chance. So, if you want to be anything out here, you have to be fearless, and you have to be willing to jump off that edge. Even if you know, you got to take a leap of faith. Even if you don't believe you're gonna make it. Just like that movie The Matrix. You know, Neo, he didn't believe he could make the jump. You gotta believe you can make the jump and make the jump, and you'll make the jump. Now, you know, and another side of that, sometimes they don't tell you, and that's why it's a lot of people that's just gonna go through life a mediocre life because they never make the jump. Like, everybody that's a millionaire, well, some of it is inherited, but a lot of people that's millionaires, they made that jump, that leap of faith. Now, what they don't tell you, that sometimes you can make that leap of faith and you can fall flat. You know what I'm saying? You can hit the bottom and you can fall flat. And so maybe that's why a lot of people like to play it safe, because they know in the back of their mind, yeah, you can take that leap of faith and you can believe and you can have all this drive and motivation, and but you can still hit the ground face first, you know, so they take the safe route. But there's a high possibility, I'll say that. It's a high possibility that, you know, you have to go for, you know, you have to take the three-pointer. You know, you can't just settle for the two-point shot all the time, the easy layup. Challenge yourself a little bit and try to shoot the three-pointer. You know, go for that three sometimes. It's a risky shot. You might not make it, but keep shooting it. Make them. You're going to be making them back-to-back. You're going to be flipping them shits behind your back and making them. You know, so, yeah, that's what I would tell. That's what I would say.
Is a great message for the fans. Sin, it's been an incredible interview. You and I spoke a bunch before we did this. We weren't even sure if it was something that we were going to do, but I told you how important I thought GYS was, and just even past GYS, just you. Sometimes, you know, as a group, individuals just get lumped in the group, but it was important for us to tell the Sin story as well. So I'm truly honored that you came on, you took the time out of your life to speak with John and I, and I hope that we did the Graveyard Shift story proud in this interview. And you know, now that we've had you on here, I love to establish things with guests and have them on in the future to talk about things. One of my favorite segments tonight was talking video games with you. So I really hope that in the future we can get you back on the show and we got an opportunity to speak again.
like being on the show and giving an opportunity for the fans to, kind of hear me. Yeah, I appreciate the opportunity, man. Thanks.
Oh yeah, for sure. Sin, once again, I want to thank you for coming on and being our guest, brother, and we hope you have a great rest of your night, man.
You too, brother.
John
Yes.
Lippy. Did you ever think in your life when you were holding that Mo Thugs album, did you ever think that we would know and just touch as many of these people's lives that we have that are on this album? We say it every time, every interview. We walk away going, wow, I didn't expect it. And what's crazy is because he had such a good uh a good interview with Graveyard Soldier, it's like I did know what we were getting into, and it
Mm.
still exceeded the boundaries for me. It was still just so much for me. I mean, I learned new things. We always learn new Bone shit. So I learned new Bone and Mo Thug shit tonight, but it was more, man. I learned a lot about Sin. Um, you know, perception is always one thing. I remember, and I meant to talk to him about this, but I remember hearing in that interview, him saying like relativity really pushed the them wearing all black all the time, and the thing. So it's like the perception of Graveyard Shift is one thing, and then who Sin is totally something else. And it was really a privilege to speak to him tonight for as long as we did. I had no idea how much time we were going to get with him, and I feel really honored that the guy spent so much time telling that story.
Yeah. And this one could have easily gone the Romeo distance of 9 hours. And it's one of the fun parts that I like to that we got to experience here as well as with the Graveyard Soldier interview is Sin's attention to detail of the recording process and the appreciation of the
Oh
craft
yeah,
and what goes into recording. As he talks about it, you can almost like, he wasn't just wasting time in that studio. He was observing the whole thing, whether it was the vocalist or the engineers or the beat makers. It's. I think at one point he was like, "Well, this is probably my career, so let me learn everything about it." And you could hear he was definitely a student of the process and appreciated it as well. And so it must have been
yeah,
something for him to see Crazy Bone lay it down and probably Tombstone too. You listen to those tracks by Tombstone, you're like, man, he must have been something to watch. So I think Sin, unlike most rappers are when they're in the studio, it's just all about them. Whereas I think Sin, he laid down his verses, and this is just my assumption, but while he was there, he was probably also observing and taking in the environment and the opportunity in the situation. And it was just it's nice to hear him describe all the different aspects of the process.
yeah. No, I agree. He really seemed like he wanted to be a student of the game, and when people it's funny, but if you think about when people talk about Mo Thugs and like who are always the people that you hear? You always hear about Soldier Boy and you always hear about Tombstone. And when you hear about people that were close to like the Crazy Bone work ethic and skill, it's always those names that come up. And Sin was in a position where Crazy Bone was so influential to the Mo Thugs and I'm sure to Graveyard Shift. So Sin is in this position where these just like amazing, musical geniuses of Tombstone and Crazy Bone are working with him. Um, it was a good interview, man. You could tell there was a lot of gratitude in Sin. There's a lot of growth in Sin. I think our interview was unique because it really brought another side of the guy that I don't know if the fans have been able to hear. And I'm grateful for that. I do apologize to our fans. We did for the whole time have a real poor connection with Sin. Unfortunately, there wasn't much we could do about that, and there were parts that I know kind of got fucked up during the interview. So we apologize about that. That's unfortunately one of the things that happens when it's a phone call in. But I think even with that, there's a hell of an interview here, man. This is really good.
Yeah,
I feel privileged that it's us, that we got the opportunity, because some of these guys are just done with it. They don't want to talk about it anymore. Like you said, he gets fucking messages every day about Mo Thugs. You heard him every day, and I believe him because I know how the fans are. And some of them are just like, nah, I'm good doing that. So I feel ultra privileged that he did that he did this with us.
yeah, and a sad thing is last night when I was listening to all the songs, I also watched the music video for Thug Devotion. And if you haven't seen it in a while, and watch it now, knowing all the things that we've discussed on the show and all the people we've met, you see how it really was a real big family and everything was
Yeah.
good. And all the people we spoke to now, most of them were from Cleveland. They're all really good people. It's amazing how good the people of Cleveland are, and it's a tragedy that business came between family and disrupted a real harmony that was going on, and I just felt bad. I was so happy listening to Thug Devotion again because it's been a while since I heard it, but it also like brought a tear to my eye just watching. Like when you see the video, it's a picnic. It's like a family picnic. It reminded me of like my family parties on Sundays, playing sports and then eating barbecue, and then just seeing what once was and knowing that it's no longer. And it was pretty tragic to witness that last night. A thing you brought up is, and I didn't realize this till you brought it up, was Cop Stories. So Cop Stories was that originally that came out, and I had the Southwest Riders double CD, and
Oh
and I,
yeah.
I listened to it. Yeah, and I listened to it a lot when I had it. It was a double CD, by the way, and there was a great song by Twister on it on disc two. Um, and I definitely listened to Cop Stories by Graveyard Shift, but it didn't dawn on me that that's where that was released. Is that where Cop Stories was released? I thought it was like on one of the Mo Thugs or one of the Crazy Bones solo albums.
No, that
Was
was
this
97. That shit came out in 90 fucking 7. And yeah, no, I'm pretty sure Cop Stories was very first heard on that. Well, like you said, E40 pushed him to record more than one song. That it wasn't even the first song they recorded for it. So they recorded that specifically for E40 in that compilation.
wow? There, and you know how he mentioned that E40 sent them back a few times to make sure that they had the right song. It's
Yeah.
true that
I-
that compilation is really good. There's a good song by UGK on there called High Side. In fact, if you ever heard us say High Side on any of the Lyrical Fusion albums, it's from that song. So that's amazing though. So now in my mind, I'm like, Pop Stories is one of the most famous Graveyard Shift songs to me. I wonder if it is for other Bone fans, but I realize now that it's from that Southwest Riders, and that's where I first heard it. I thought it came
yeah.
from somewhere else. So thanks for bringing that to light. Thanks for helping me remember about that CD too. That CD, I had it as a freshman, and me and Smokey used to play it all the time. So Southwest Riders, if you haven't heard that one, check it out. It's a double CD. It was when compilations were good. It was before people were just throwing anything together. E40
Yeah.
had some taste, and he made and the people he brought together were all quality artists. So props to E40 for giving Graveyard Shift a wider audience and bringing that song to me. And I didn't even realize it till this interview where that came from.
And I love too that E40 made him go back to the well. Like they sent E40 a song, and instead of him just going, yeah, whatever, and just throwing it on, like he's like, nah, I know y'all motherfuckers can do better. Um, dude, this was a great interview, man. I loved hearing we cleared up shots to the double Glock. Uh, that alone is worth this interview. Okay, to know that 101 was on that track, that an original Poetic Hustler was on that track, that didn't end up in the final lineup. Again, it's something new in every one of them. This one was a long one, but man, I was into it, bro. I was into it. I feel good. I got a lot of gratitude coming out of it, man. I know I keep saying it, but I got a lot of gratitude coming out of it. I'm good, man.
A new a thing came out of this too. Remember he mentioned Raw Ice Dynasty, which was the precursor to Brothers from the Struggle.
Yeah.
And I had looked up Raw Ice Dynasty and then their discography, which then led me to Brothers from the Struggle. And one of the Brothers from the Struggle CD or cassettes, Archie Blaine did some production on it, and one of the songs features "Too True," or at least they're credited on it. I don't know how much they're on the song because I just looked it up when he mentioned Raw Ice Dynasty.
Yeah.
So if
Archie played
there's
a
some
bunch of
Too
that
True fans out
recently.
there,
Yeah, Archie
oh,
played
did
a
he?
bunch of
Okay.
brothers. Yeah, I mean, literally just like in the last like couple weeks, which you guys will hear this in delay, but in the last couple weeks, yeah, he was on his live stream and he was playing Brothers of the Struggle and fucking Too True. So you guys can actually, I think he played that off YouTube, but in the worst case, run over to Archie Blaine's Facebook and right in his live streams, he's got these tracks John's talking about.
Yep. But yeah, Cecil, you did a great job with Sin. Again, I stayed in the cut because I didn't want to start coughing mid show. Plus, we had a little bit delays with the audio,
Yeah,
it was
that hurt
difficult
us a
enough
little
just to
bit.
keep a synchronous. Yeah, it's a shame because, like I said, I love Sin's spirit. Seems like a
Yeah.
really good dude, and we'll find a way to make this one sound good and
It
and
fucked
get a
up the
good
flow a
story
little
out to the
bit.
fans.
But what's good is it also made me sit back and let Sin talk a little more, instead of us going, punch for punch with each other like I do with a lot of guests. So it made me ease back a little bit, which I think is cool. I think it let Sin get a lot off his chest. It let me ask a lot of the questions that we as Bone fans have been looking to know. We got a motherfucking almost 4-hour show on our hands, John. I'm done. You done? I'm done.
I'm done. That's a wrap.
I'm fucking done. Hey, this is Beyond the Harmony, Thug Thursday, Season 2. You just wrapped up your interview with Sin. I am Cecil West with the one and only
John Lippy.
Feenics Ryzin. Time to bring us home.
Beyond the harmony for the fans, we celebrate. Uploading new videos every Thursday, so join us. Beyond the harmony for the fans, we celebrate. Uploading new videos every Thursday, so join us. Beyond the harmony for the fans, we celebrate. Uploading new videos every Thursday, so join us. Beyond the harmony for the fans, we celebrate. Uploading new